Okay, this is for the Got Privilege activity. Um, when I first read through the activity, I originally felt like Got Privilege was kind of not a fitting name for the activity. I thought a more suitable name would be maybe like in someone else's shoes or something more along that line. I didn't feel like it would have to do much with privilege. Um, Totally changed after not even after, during the activity. Um, Completely like changed idea about it and really understood why it was called Got Privilege. So as a white woman going through this activity, um, it was different to like shop around, kind of being in somebody else's shoes, um, and it showed me just how privileged we are to be white. Never, like in a million years, did I even entertain the thought of struggling to buy a birthday card for my best friend, or not being able to buy a brand of makeup because they didn't have a tone dark enough for my skin. Um, or like pantyhose, for example. I went to 3 different stores and I couldn't find pantyhose that were like a dark color other than just plain black. I found beige and like see-through ones, but they weren't the color of a black woman's skin. So that was, I hate to keep using the word eye-opening because I feel like I say every activity is eye-opening. But it brings you into a reality that you didn't necessarily understand or you didn't know existed. I didn't know that people of color go through these kind of things, where I go through once a week. I might run to Walgreens and pick up a magazine or a birthday card, and say a Latina woman or a black woman, it's not that easy for them, and it's almost a shame. Say for the card, for example, I found 2 cards in Walgreens, which is like my go-to store. I found 2 cards in Walgreens. The one was for a friend, but it had a picture of a black woman dancing on it and a picture of a white woman. So if I was black, buying a card for my black friend, that wouldn't have worked. And then the only other card that like depicted a black woman on it was from a husband. So it was like, to my wife from your husband. So in that case, what do you do as a black woman? Do you buy this like stupid card with a funny cartoon on it of animals or just of a saying of words? Like, it must be so difficult to go into a store and not see any representation of what you look like in that store. Not seeing anybody who is of your color or even resembles you slightly. The Walgreens that I do shop at regularly, the manager is a black woman. So that was a little bit comforting, like if I was really in that position. So that I felt like was a plus in the situation. What I also felt during the exercise, that the timing of the activity was kind of poor. So as I was going through the magazine section, I originally was like, oh, like this is going to be equally as hard as the makeup or the card. There's not going to be any magazines with black women on the cover, let alone ones that had like tips for how to do your hair, how to do your makeup. The store was actually full of magazines that depicted women of color. There was actually a magazine specifically for, it said African American women with their textured hair. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like, hopefully they have this in stores all the time. But why I say it was poor timing, February is Black History Month. So as I looked closer, I noticed that although there were pictures of Black individuals, Black women, Black men on covers of an array of magazines, there was always that little comment bar at the bottom that said celebrating Black History Month, or just something to do with it being February and it being Black History Month. So I might even, like, just for my own kind of purposes and my own activity, I might go back in a different month, maybe in April or May, to see if the magazines are the same or if they're different. And I kind of have a feeling they would be different. So I think if I had done this activity in a different month, maybe I would have got different results for sure. But all in all, I did get the point of why it's called Got Privilege. Because, again, something that I would never consider in my wildest dreams, getting a birthday card from my friend, or finding a book for my daughter written by, say if I was still that Black woman, I would never have imagined it was that hard to find those items on the list. Something that are everyday essentials, Band-Aids, hair products, makeup, for women especially. These are things that are difficult to find. I found them. They were in the back of the store. I was surprised that not every brand of makeup that I found had shades into the darker colors, but it was eye-opening. It was surprising, and it just reinforces the fact that prior to this class, I thought that I knew what racism was and what white privilege was, but the more we go through activities and the more concrete examples I see in my everyday life, I realize I don't know as much as I did, and I have to work toward keeping my eyes open and noticing inconsistency when I see it, or noticing and correcting first, of course, my own behavior, and then trying to correct people's behavior and actions around me. I'm not the store manager of Walgreens or Barnes & Noble, so I can't exactly go around and change things like that, but my hope is that maybe I can suggest it in a suggestion box or something like that. Or my hope is that Latina women or Black women are posting those little comments in boxes, or they are approaching managers and saying, hey, this isn't necessarily fair, is there anything that you could do? Maybe move them to the front of the store, or see if there's any sale prices for things like that, because they are sometimes more expensive as well. So again, even though I sound like a broken record, the experience was very eye-opening. I learned a lot, and coming back to what I said in the beginning, I didn't necessarily think the activity was going to have anything to do with privilege. I thought it was just going to be you pretending that you're in somebody else's body and just you're kind of walking in their shoes, you're seeing what they experience through life, but more than doing that, I realized just how privileged white people are, and to not, I would say, be grateful for it, but you should also stand up and make sure that other people are receiving the same privileges in life that you are. It's not fair for one person to receive them and not for another. So hopefully I can work toward that. Society can work toward that. And it's funny how such a little activity can really be so uplifting and eye-opening and definitely surprising. So that is my little summary for my Got Privilege activity. Thank you.